Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to another episode in Reflections in Faith. Today, I want to share with you a very deep, thought-provoking reflection on a verse that invites us to take a hard look at ourselves. This verse is from Surah Al-Kahf, verse 103, and it speaks of the greatest losers, those whose deeds, despite all their effort, lead them astray. It's a verse that challenges us to think about whether we are truly on the right path or simply distracted by the world around us. The verse goes like this: "Say, shall we inform you of the greatest losers onto their deeds?" I often find myself returning to this verse. Imagine being asked directly by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as if He's calling each of us individually. It makes me wonder, have we ever really questioned if our actions, even our good deeds, truly matter? Are they aligned with Allah's guidance, or are we getting lost in the pressures and distractions of the world? In a world that's constantly urging us to buy, to consume, and to accumulate, it's easy to lose focus. This verse becomes a wake-up call, a moment to reevaluate our lives. Are our actions actually meaningful, or are we simply caught up in a cycle of material pursuits? I recently read an article by Saeed Abul Hassan Ali Nadwi that sheds light on this. Nadwi explores the clash between faith and materialism. He suggests that some of us might be chasing after success, fame, or even wealth without anchoring it to our faith. He describes these efforts as building a life on a shaky foundation, one that could crumble at any time. It's a stark reminder that while we might think we have it all, there could still be something missing at the core. Nadwi's challenge is one that feels very real in our society. We are constantly bombarded with ads, with products, and messages that scream, "You need this." It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking we need these things to be fulfilled or even to feel complete. But this verse urges us to remind ourselves or even ask ourselves, are we truly pursuing these things for Allah's pleasure? Or is it just our own desire to have more? Another eminent scholar, Ahmed Khalaf al-Daraji, wrote about the unique structure of this verse, and he makes a very interesting point. In this verse, the word "you" creates a very personal moment. It feels like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is actually reaching out to us, speaking to each one of us directly, asking, are your actions truly meaningful? It's not just a general question, it's an individual call to reflect on the direction of our lives. This direct address pushes us to look inward. It's a gentle but firm reminder to pause amidst the noise of consumerism and really evaluate where our actions are taking us. It's all too easy to get swept up in the current, seeing others buying the latest gadgets or possessions and feeling the need to emulate them, to do the same. But this verse steps in like a friend who says, "Hey, hang on a minute, hold on, take a second. Is this really necessary? Does this actually bring you closer to Allah?" Another scholar, Muhammad Sani Umar, in another article, talks about the importance of knowledge in guiding our actions. He brings in the story of Prophet Musa alayhi salam and Khidr in Surah Al-Kahf, where Musa learns that there's often a deeper wisdom behind actions that we don't immediately understand. This analogy hits home, especially in our consumer-driven world. We are told that certain possessions or lifestyles will make us happy, but often it's a fleeting illusion. Umar's point is that true actions with lasting meaning, come from aligning with what Allah wants from us, not from superficial desires. One way I've found helpful to avoid falling into this trap is to practice gratitude. Instead of constantly wanting more, I try to focus on the blessings I already have. This simple shift in perspective can retrain our minds, moving us away from always seeking what's next and teaching us to value what's already there. Along with gratitude, being mindful about how we spend can also help us stay grounded. Before we purchase anything, ask yourself, I normally ask myself, do I really need this, or is this just something I want in the moment? This small pause before hitting add to cart can make a big difference in aligning our spending with our values. Another step is to consider redirecting some of our spending toward charity. Helping those in need is a powerful way to purify our wealth and connecting with something beyond material things. It's a reminder that true wealth isn't in possessions, but in the good deeds we leave behind. As I conclude this episode today, let's revisit that first question we had on Surah Al-Kahf. Shall we inform you of the greatest losers as to their deeds? In our world today, the greatest losers could very well be those who, despite their success, have lost sight of the connection to Allah. Now let us all ensure that our actions are very much anchored in faith and guided by true understanding. It all comes down to self-reflection. Regularly asking ourselves, are my actions guided by faith, guided by our Iman? Are my intentions pure? In the end, our choices and our deeds in this life echo into our eternal lives. Let's make an effort for a life that brings us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and true fulfillment. Thank you for joining me in this reflection. May Allah guide us to make intentional choices that align with His guidance. Until the next time, remember that true success lies in seeking Allah's pleasure, not in the fleeting distractions of this world. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.